Right back here on the Voice of Nature, still with the Nature Ambassador, Her Eminence Karen Udo, on the P3 missions for the preservation, protections and promotion of history of nature, natural gifts and endowments, mystics, environment for ecosystem and ecotourism, lives, cultures, intellectual properties, and general works and issues of nature. To us all, perfect peace. Creation still on our reviews. Please kindly think of this, that there is nothing that can be done on this earth by anyone without the backings of nature. And also when the consciousness is not there or awakened. So on my statements that nations, people, communities are relying totally on promoting others' interests, values, products, cultures, concepts, theories, and even invention, yet are neglecting and leaving their natural, diverse, indigenous endowments, resources, and potentials in man and their environment untapped. That also all earth dwellers in various habitations should first look inward, for their great innate treasures have been buried by nature in the innards of their human persons, in their environment and even in the atmospheres. That the wars to show economic shutdown during the terrible, tragic global pandemic ought to have been a great lesson for the earth dwellers to strive to be self-sufficient. And on this regard, we ought to know and appreciate nature, making sure that everything each and every creation need to survive on is within us, buried in our own people and in our own environment. So, how conscious are we towards these standings? Do we consider it true or not? Are we all in support or we are against it? Or should we refute it on the misunderstanding grounds that no human, peoples, nation, or race can live and survive in isolation? Now please tolerate me to share my thoughts further. That there is an hidden yet great wisdom from nature in regards to making sure that every location on this planet is blessed with one of its kind natural treasures, resources, gifts, potential, and endowments different from one another. Now, the beauty and the essence of these natural concepts is in common coexistence of sharing and exchanging of these blessings with one another, which is the eternal trait of human existence, love. So if you are blessed with oil and I'm blessed with materials for fabrics, sell your oil to me, and when I need it, I will sell my fabrics to you in returns. Then this natural coexistence of love cycle and the beauty of his unified nature on his entire creations comes to play in our various lives, nations, and races. And the end product of this still setting is a continuous love to one another, not monopoly. Now, in some cases, nature deposited something within a certain location and then go a distance far location away and buried the idea and natural technical know-how on how that embodiment or resources or treasure could be utilized. In this circumstance, the next stage ought to be the meeting and merging of all concerned interests, those that owns the treasure or resources and those that were unearthed or developed it. Also, for those that are blessed by or for both provision in same locations or people but are not yet conscious to harness their natural resources or endowments, meaning not realizing the technical know-how to harness it. So on this, or in this case, rather than permanently selling off those natural resources by some leaders in authorities for either out of ignorance and lack of consciousness on the importance of such treasures, or for greed, which is the case of the happenings in some of our societies today. These two should come together in love and unity to harness these treasures for both sides' blessings. Then transfer by sharing and exchange of knowledge, and this is what is known as technical or technological transfer. And this natural transfer or understanding can secure an earth-shaking impact on economic growth, social development for both sides, and general positive global process or progress, because it is done out of true love and consent to one another, not monopoly for greed or selfishness. However, these are not the case. What we have or seen right now on the earth plane is that the developer will totally want to take off and claim up everything, leaving peanuts for the owners, or in many cases nothing at all. Some are even ready to technically terminate or destroy the entire lineage just to claim and take control of whichever resources or blessing embedded by nature for such people or race or communities. And when this happens, at this point, the total essence and natural laws is defeated, which is concern and true love for one to another. So creation, most pathetic, is what is ongoing now. In practical terms, some of these locations, out of lack of consciousness and greed, their leaders are united with the developers and sell off the entire destinies and blessing of their peoples and nations. Now, before we debate ignorantly if our forefathers or leaders are sold off the living profession that our Creator made and deposited for us all, how then would or should we survive? That location will certainly be poor, because their natural livelihood and destiny has been sold off by their heads. No amount of conferences, academic qualifications, or portfolio will fix natural mistakes or disasters. It is first to be conscious of natural laws and scheme of things in regards to the Creator's plans for His creations. What is happening on earth and most societies is a story of how people are fighting over that which is not theirs. And the owner is watching. The people here are our forefathers and leaders, with those people that initiated all these evil transactions and negotiation in many of these locations, nations, communities, and families. And the owner is God, our maker and creator, which is nature. This is an honest truth of this old drama. I must tell us this fact that it may not be that easy to correct these generational mistakes. Without God, and consciousness has to be awakened. Now, if the new generations accept and consider this fact and want to make changes, not by protesting for instant and outright changes, because those that they are protesting against also lack the consciousness of what to do and how to go about it. They are not truthful. This is deep and beyond the people we are seeing now. These are reincarnational past plans and strategies that also need extensive strategic step-by-step wisdom and consciousness to amend and effect into motion. Creations permit me to share something to us all today, that anything which involves life and has passed from one generation to another has become spiritual matters. Please don't think I'm dwelling on this, but this is just the truth. And to correct it by force without God, so much blood will go. Have we observed that anytime there is protest or revolution against evil tendencies that has lingered for generations, blood must be shed, life must go? Is that what we want? So if we need an answer to this, then let's share our thoughts later on this. However, on what we are talking about, the matter at hand. Firstly, we would or should still come to terms with the gospel on Genesis 27:28-40. As this natural or spiritual embargo lifting is ongoing, the negative receiving end has to come together to do the needful to finally break the physical yoke of this natural embargo. What nature needs is true self-realization, repentance, and self-consciousness. So therefore, why can't the concerned nations or youth, who are the next generation's forefathers and future leaders in unity, beyond religion, ethnicity, etc., declare a period and point of mourning rather than protesting with so much noises, and even their plans being exposed to even the very people they are working against daily? Don't we know when we protest physically over some spiritual issues, we are fighting against even all past spirit that initiated such abnormalities? So it's a serious thing to achieve spiritual matters with noises and violence. Blood will keep going, and nothing will happen for the loss of those blood. Rather is to seek the face and mercy of God, the creator and maker, who is in charge of times, both past and present, who was there then, now, and even shall be after us all, who is in charge of both the dead and the living, meaning he knows all past or whatever forefathers and where they were and leaders, and how to reconcile and perfect everything for all our good. Only our creator can intervene. Then from thereafter, the mourning period, whatever responses that will follow, sure, that will go a long way to fix these natural generational disasters caused by the generations of Cain in our midst. Christians, nobody except God will fix these present world problems and misunderstandings. Any moves without God will be temporary. So let's deal with the spiritual and natural embargo first. Then we will witness the interplay of natural sharing and exchange concept of nature. It is by then that we will naturally observe that there will be no suppression, marginalization, oppression of any sort, rather mutual respect and understanding amongst all creations, for indeed nature is supreme. So for a moment, I'm signing out, returning shortly to continue with our reviews.